these are the answers for the water exam questions, the higher tier. So question 1, all life on Earth depends on water. The figure below shows an iceberg floating on the sea. Explain how the water molecules in the iceberg could end up as water in a lake. So firstly, water in the iceberg is in a solid state. Obviously, when the iceberg melts, water changes in its liquid form, into its liquid form. They will then, water molecules will go into the sea, and then the water will evaporate from the sea and then will condense once it's risen so water will then evaporate from the sea, go up into the atmosphere as a vapour, and then obviously will then condense and fall as it rains. And fall as rain into the lake. Next up, rainwater collects in rivers and lakes. Water in rivers and lakes contains materials that makes the water unsafe to drink. Describe how the water from the rivers and lakes is treated to make it safe to drink. So what happens is we remove solid materials by something called filtration. And then also the microbes in the water are killed by sterilization, which is done either by chlorine, adding chlorine, or UV light, ultraviolet light. Next one. So, good quality water is needed for a healthy life in the United Kingdom. Excuse me. Obtaining safe water for drinking is as simple as turning on a tap. The water is made safe to drink by water companies. However, in parts of Africa and Asia, water used for drinking is contaminated and untreated. It is estimated that 2.2 million people die each year as a result of drinking contaminated water. So efforts are being made to solve this problem and more water is being treated. Describe how water in the United Kingdom is treated. Explain how this makes it safe to drink. So, firstly, we have to filter. Always start with filtration. The insoluble does not dissolve. So filter the insoluble substances. Next one, we use precipitation to remove the soluble material as solids, and then we add chlorine to sterilize the bacteria. So there's your 3 points. You filter the insoluble, you precipitate to remove the soluble material as solids, and then add chlorine to sterilise the bacteria. Next question. Read the following information and then answer the question. Chlorine, for better or for worse. Chlorine is used to make bleachers, plastics and medicines. Swimming pool is often treated with chlorine. Chlorine is used to make water safe to drink. It is relatively cheap and easy to use. People who drink untreated water risk dying from typhoid and cholera. However, chlorine is a poisonous chemical and it causes breathing difficulties and can kill people. Some people are also allergic to chlorine. How does chlorine make water safe to drink? Because it sterilises the water. Or it kills the bacteria. Next one, the amount of chlorine in a swimming pool water should be carefully monitored and controlled. So explain why. Because chlorine, like it said above, is a poisonous chemical. So chlorine is toxic / poisonous. It could cause health problems or illness. Or even eye irritations. If you've been in a pool for too long or with too much chlorine in it, you can feel your eyes being irritated. But however, so if there's too much, it'll cause health problems. However, if there is not enough chlorine, it will not kill the bacteria. So you've got to have a balance, because if there's not enough, it'll not kill the bacteria, but if there's too much, it is toxic and poisonous. Developing countries are likely to choose chlorination as their method of making water safe to drink. Why? It's because it is cheap and it is cheap and easy to use. So they're going to do that. So a government is setting up an inquiry into the safety of using chlorine. Suggests why people from all political parties should be represented. It's so it is fair and there's less chance of bias. So some political parties might be interested in using chlorine and it'll then become biased, but then some might not be interested in using chlorine, so therefore they'll be biased. So it's less chance of bias if you've got people from all political parties. Suggests why the opinion of a well-represented scientist might change the outcome of any discussion. It's because they are more likely to have support / influence. I think if David Attenborough told anyone to do anything, everyone would, rather than someone who they don't know. So more likely to have support / influence. The decision taken about the safety of using chlorine should be based on evidence and data rather than hearsay and opinion. So suggest why it's more likely to be correct. So if it's based on evidence and data, it's more likely to be correct rather than just someone's opinion on Facebook. Water in Britain is taken from reservoirs to use as drinking water. So, what are the two main steps used to treat water from reservoirs? Give one reason for each step. Firstly, always start off with filtering to remove the large solids like twigs, leaves, etc. And then you add your chlorine, and that is to reduce the number of microbes. So filtering it and then adding your chlorine to reduce the number of microbes, or you could say kill microbes. Next up, some people use water filters to treat water before drinking it. Water filters removes hardness from the hard water. What is in water filters that removes hardness from the water? It's called an ion exchange resin. Just one of those things you've got to remember. Suggest why water filters used in the home contain particles of silver. So why do they contain particles of silver? It's to prevent the growth of microbes. Why is distillation not usually an economic method of treating water? For drinking, it's because there's a high cost of energy, so it takes a lot of energy, so there's going to be a cost to that. And state one health benefit of drinking hard water: reduces heart disease, believe it or not. And also maintains bones and teeth. Okay, so there's the answers. I hope you did well. Thank you for listening.